Well, boys, it happened again. We have another major layoff announcement from a tech company. ClickUp just laid off 22% of its workforce. But what's interesting is it is not due to company health. In fact, the CEO, Zeb Evans, said the company is, quote, the strongest it's ever been. I did it because the way to operate at the highest level of productivity is changing. And to win in the future, ClickUp needs to change with it. If you're not familiar with ClickUp, it's a software that helps manage projects similar to Monday and so on and so forth. But anyway, ClickUp's a good software. I use it. I'm using it currently with some clients. But what's really illuminating, and why this to me is probably one of the most interesting stories of the year, because it gives an inside look into the layoffs in the vision that the people that are driving software forward, how they see it. And please believe what's happening with software is going to trickle down to every single organization, just in different ways. So the question we ask here is, how are they going to change? You know, you're saying you're going to change. What does that mean? Well, they are changing into what he calls a 100X organizations. And the humans that are relevant in this environment are going to matter a lot, right? Are you going to be relevant in this new environment? Am I going to be relevant in this new environment? That really matters to me, guys, because quite frankly, I don't want to be on food stamps and hope that the government is going to be able to give me my relevancy in this new world. I'm a man, I need to provide. I got a family, I got kids, I got a wife. I can't just sit back and hope that the UBI comes in for the month. I'm not going to do that. I don't know about you. If you're not going to do that, smash the like button. Anyway, who are the humans that are going to be relevant at a company like ClickUp? He defines them as builders, managers, and frontliners. And we'll go into that in just a moment, so hold that thought. I want to read you some more quotes from Zeb, the CEO, because it is really interesting. And if you've been subscribed to the channel, if you're subscribed to the channel, you know, we listen, a lot of the stuff that he's going to say here is stuff that we've been talking about for months now. And again, if you're not subbed, go ahead and hit the subscribe. Do yourself a favor. I'm bringing you a fresh video 6 days a week on how layoffs are impacting guys like you and me in the workforce, how technology is impacting us. So anyway, he says, quote, this wasn't about cutting costs. Most savings from this change will flow directly back into the people who stay. We'll be producing $1 million salary bands. So he's saying, guys, we're saving this money. We're going to save a lot of money, millions of dollars. But that money is just going to pay the people that are staying, because again, the vision here is to create a 100X organization. And the vision on doing that is to revolve completely around AI agents. And guys, we've talked about this. We're already seeing companies including AI agents in their organizational charts. You know, organizational charts are being flattened. The entry level of the career ladder is being flattened. It's coming down to, can you deploy AI agents or not? And ClickUp has already deployed 3,000 internal AI agents. There are actually a 3-to-1 ratio within the organization. There are 3 AI agents to every 1 user. And again, this fundamentally changes how organizations operate. We've seen examples at a few different companies. We talked about this a few months ago with a company called Block, which is a payment processing company. But there's a lot of, basically all the tech companies are kind of moving to this new model, and the ones that are slow to adapt are going to be in trouble. It's actually, just as a side note, it's kind of transformed the way that I'm thinking about how I want to build this AI update business. You know, I originally was thinking, maybe I'll create a school community and I'll bring guys in and we'll have sessions and I'll teach how I'm using AI to scale up marketing campaigns and things like that. But I was like, you know, why do I need to use school? Why don't I just build out my own system using the AI agents and the knowledge I already have? So actually, that's what I'm working on right now. More on that in the future. But I figure, like, if I'm going to be part of this new world, I don't want to build off old systems. We want to build new systems. So in any event, if that's interesting to you, if you'd like to be a part of something like that where you can learn how to build your own things, stay tuned, because I'll have more on that coming soon. Anyway, let's continue. So the CEO, Zeb Evans, says something that, again, I think is really important and perhaps even brutal, depending on how you look at it. He explains that the entire organization and the entire system is going to need to be rebuilt. And again, this is probably going to tick off a lot of the coders and engineers here, but this is what he says. He says, quote, the common narrative is that AI makes everyone more productive. It doesn't. Many of the workflows of today, if left unchanged, create bottlenecks in the AI systems. Again, what people are saying here is that everyone's going to win. AI is going to make everyone more productive. It doesn't. It does not. There are some people that are not going to make the switch. And I hope that you're one of them that does. But there are people, and guys, this is why I talk about this on the channel, because I think we are headed for a cliff. I think we are going to see millions, if not tens of millions of people that don't adapt these tools and are just completely irrelevant. Think about using a typewriter in a computer age. That is what we're talking about here. Anyway, he continues, the 100X org is actually heavily dependent on people, infinitely more than today. This is only possible with 10X people that have embraced and adopted new ways of working, end quote. It is all about AI agent deployment. It is less about managers. It is less about being an employee. It is about being a conductor. It's about understanding how to deploy AI agents to become more efficient and more quick at your tasks. That is what the new world is, boys. That's what it is. And you can enjoy that, or you can shift careers. You can work with your hands. Anyway, let's talk about what that looks like, because Zeb just blows it away with this with some of these quotes here. So the first kind of role that he sees really changing within the organization is the engineers. Okay, the software engineers. These are like the top of the hierarchy. These are the guys that are making sure that all the code works essentially in the software. Obviously, there's more to it than that, but basically these are the top of the coding ladder. He says, quote, the common narrative is that AI makes all engineers more productive. And that may be true in isolation, but at an organizational level, that is the farthest thing from reality. Here's what we validated recently at ClickUp. The great engineers, the ones who can orchestrate, architect, and review, are becoming 100X engineers. They are not writing code. They are directing agents to write code. The skill is judgment. This blew me away, because I know there are guys on the channel who say stuff to me, engineers out there who are saying things to me like, Mark, you're not an engineer, you're not a developer, you don't get it. AI writes crap code, it doesn't work. Like, I know that you're wrong, not just because the CEO of ClickUp said it, not just because they're deploying AI agents like crazy across every organization, but I know software engineers. I work with CTO for SaaS companies almost on a daily basis, and I know what the good ones are doing. They are not writing code, they are deploying AI agents, whether it's with, primarily with Claude code, and they are shipping code like crazy. And they're not, guys, they are leveraging their God-given brain to use good judgment to make sure that the code works. The highest, and what he says here is that the highest skilled engineers at companies are about to become 100X employees. And what's going to happen is, if you're not a 100X engineer, if you're not a 10X engineer, you're gonna get gutted. You're gonna get laid off. And that job, the job that you were doing before, is gonna get moved up to the people that are capable of doing it. You're not gonna have 100 engineers in an organization anymore. You're gonna have 10 engineers in the organization who are gonna be able to get it all done, because they understand how to use the AI agent technology. Do you disagree with that? You might say, Mark, you're not an engineer, and that's fine, I get that. But do you disagree with that is what I wanna know. And let me just reiterate that this is what's important here. And I think this is what a lot of people misunderstand when they think about AI agents, is it's about copying and pasting, okay? It's about, I asked Claude, I did a few prompts, I got a 50-page document, and I shipped it out to the rest of my organization to review. That is not what we're talking about here. That is not a 10X employee. That's a guy who's going in and creating a bunch of work for everybody else. And Zeb is going to talk about that in a moment. But what I've found personally is, when you're really using these AI tools, you're sending out your agent to do work, your agent comes back, and just like a good writer, you're going to delete half of it and maybe half of it again. And then you're shipping, right? Stephen King says great writing is deleting half of it and deleting half of it again. Maybe the exact ratio doesn't correlate here, but what does correlate is that what a lot of people are screwing up right now when it comes to AI is giving them huge, verbose, tons of AI slop garbage, and they're just shipping it out without reviewing it. You gotta stop doing that. This really, honestly, it really pisses me off, because what happens when you do that is you're just creating more work for everybody else. And I see this happening in organizations where some schmuck learns how to use ChatGPT for the first time and sends over a ton of garbage without even taking 5 seconds to look through it to find the gems. Because please believe there are gems in there, and the 10X employees are gonna find the gems and gonna be much more effective. Sorry, I had to put this out there because I don't feel like I hear people talking about this. I hear half the people are saying that AI is amazing and it changes everything, and then half the people are saying it's total crap. But you gotta, it's both. It is both at the same time, and people are just not talking about that. Anyway, let's get back to it, because what Zeb is gonna say in this next quote, I think highlights the point I'm making here really well. He says, quote, "If your best engineers are spending time reviewing other people's code, then this is inherently an inefficient bottleneck. These engineers can review their agent's code much faster than reviewing human code. More code is just another bottleneck to the best engineers, and ultimately to your company's impact as well. Bingo, bango, bongo. If you're not 10X, get out, because the best engineers are gonna know how to use these AI agents and use the AI agents to write code and ship code faster." And this is exactly what I'm talking about. AI, a lot of times, just creates a lot of noise. It creates tons of noise. And if you're not able to, this applies to people that are not just in software development. If you're not taking the time to like clean up the noise, you're not really adding anything of value to the web or to your organization. Okay, so that's engineers. Let's look at product managers. So one of the points that Zeb makes is that product managers and designers are being merged together. He says, quote, "The bottleneck of user research is gone. It takes just one mention of an agent to kick off research and analyze results." The bottleneck of product and design iteration is also gone. The product builder iterates on their own, along with agents and skills, to ensure alignment with quality and strategy. So I think this is another thing that's really, really important. In being in the marketing world, being in the creative marketing world, one of the things I hear a lot is it feels like I'm getting on more calls. I think this is what's going to work. That, what you need to understand, at least for me, what I find in the marketing world is it's not about what you feel like or what you think. Like, that's a good place to start. That's a good starting point. But do you have any processes or flywheels or systems in place to actually validate that your hypothesis was correct? I mean, what if Thomas Edison just gave up on the light bulb because he's like, oh, what I thought would work didn't work? Or what if he kept trying the same thing over again because he didn't have a way of validating what was working and what wasn't working? I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. The research aspect is really important. Okay, let me keep going here. Systems managers says, quote, "The people that automate their jobs with AI will always have a job. They become owners of the AI systems. They become agent managers." And I've talked about this a lot in the past few days, and I'll post a link to a video here about Meta, because there were a lot of people at Meta that got really upset. And I've spoken about this a few times recently. I just want to highlight it again, because this is counterintuitive. I think a lot of people don't understand this concept or want to accept this concept, which is that if you are able to train AI agents to replace your work, you become a 10X employee. You become incredibly valuable to your organization because you're able to continue finding new jobs and new tasks to deploy agents to. Right? They're not gonna be like, oh, Jim figured out how to automate that task. We don't need Jim anymore. They're gonna say, Jim figured out how to automate that task. How can we give Jim 3 more tasks and pay him more money because he's automating more tasks? Does that make sense? Or even better, you're at your organization and you figure out how to solve the problem. You're like, holy crap, I feel like I just stumbled on electricity. Now I can go sell that service, that automation to other organizations that are trying to execute. And all of a sudden you achieve you create your own business, you have financial freedom, etc. Find ways to use AI agents to replace yourself. I'm telling you guys, that is the #1 skill to be learning right now. Do you disagree? You put it in the comments below. The next type of employee that we talk about here is the frontliner. And I think this is really important too. He says, Zeb, CEO of ClickUp, says, quote, "In a world that will become saturated with AI communication, the human touch will matter more than anything to customers. This is a bottleneck that you should not replace, even when agents are high enough quality to do video meetings." End quote. And I totally agree with this. And I think that's one of the reasons that this channel has been successful, because so many channels out there are just using AI talking heads to saturate the web. I'm not doing that. I'm coming to, it's me. Sometimes you'll disagree with me. I'm not gonna come in here. Sometimes people say like, Mark, you should take this line, you should take that line in. There are certain lines that I could take in these videos that would help the channel to grow faster. But I wanna be authentic. It's me and you. We're walking, we're talking, we're having conversations, we're experimenting outside, and we're coming in here and executing. Shout out to Nikos as well, who is doing that. He's showing up daily to watch the videos. He's going out, he's executing, he's coming back and reporting. I freaking love that. We need more space for conversation like that. But even outside of that, there's a big push right now, at least in the sales world, to automate everything, to remove the human component. I mean, you see this on LinkedIn, you see this in cold email, you see it in AI chatbots. It's happening everywhere. And there's some places, there is a place for that. But I think what is happening in the sales and marketing world is there's too much reliance on automation and scale. And you need to have some people. You need to have some human beings. People, I covered this in a video. I'll post a link to it here. But I read a book recently about AI for sales. And I kind of, anyway, and I implemented some of my own personal experiences with AI in sales, both on the sales side and on the client side, prospect side. And the reality is that humans don't like speaking to robots. It feels like it cheapens things. And so go check out this video where we go into more detail on that, but you cannot automate your front line away. Guys, the changes that we are seeing in big tech and at companies like ClickUp are just the beginning of the new way that we work in the world. The future of work is different. The future of work is deploying agents and leveraging your God-given intuitive brain power to become a 10x worker with 100x output. It's a different world, guys. And replacing yourself should be something that we strive for day in and day out. How can I deploy an agent to replace myself? How can I deploy an agent to replace that expensive software? This is the way that we need to be thinking. And again, what's happening in tech, what we're seeing in software, it's going to trickle down to every organization. If you don't believe me, you can check out the video from yesterday where we look at what 4 of the biggest banks in the world are doing with AI agents and their different approaches, but all of them have one thing in common. It's that AI agents are becoming a critical part of the organizational structure. Check out yesterday's video. I'll see you there, boys. Peace.